All right, Shalom, 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 Israel. All right, first and foremost, all right, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yhwh. All right, I do so in the name of his only begotten son, Hamashiach Yahweh, the true God of this world. All right, the true God of the nation of Israel. And of course, Yahweh being the name of who everyone knows as Jesus Christ. All right, again, this is Captain Ma'am of Yahweh's Camp, Raleigh, North Carolina. Definitely want to give a shalom to the folks that's watching, to all the subscribers, to the people that's watching this video. If you've never seen this video, shalom. All right, shalom to the 12 tribes of Israel that's scattered abroad. Shalom to the mighty elders of the camp. Shalom to the captains of the camp. Shalom to the soldiers, officers, and the people that are in our congregation. Definitely want to send shalom to the 12 tribes that scattered abroad, to the brothers and sisters that's laboring in this truth day in and day out. Of course, shalom to y'all brothers and sisters as well. All right, so let's get right into it. All right, as you can see the title, today's title, all right, is pride, about pride, right, and leaven. As we exited the day of unleavened bread, a lot of our people that are in congregations have got the understanding, right, and received that wisdom that pride and leaven are synonymous and they go hand in hand. And just meditating on that through the spirit, right? It's a Shabbat, and just wanted to just come out. As you can see, I'm in a different location today. I was able to get some sunshine. It's a beautiful day, so I was able to, make my way down to this beautiful location here. But I was just meditating on the understanding of pride and how it can fester up, right, and rise like leaven, throughout our time here in this truth and on this earth. And, one of the main things that I look at on pride is ultimately, going to the elderly, right? The folks that are older, the folks that are younger. We're in the world now, we're in a time now where you can't correct anybody. You can't edify anybody without being disrespectful. We just had a video that just dropped yesterday on our YouTube page. So please check out our YouTube page, Yahweh's Camp, Raleigh, North Carolina. We were just talking to this young brother. I think I was teaching the young brother on, just how to live life as a man, right? And, things, didn't work out for him. But, through the spirit, we were able to edify people, hopefully. So I just want to bring a few precepts out on pride. And I want to start off with Sirach 42:8, because, again, pride is synonymous with leaven. But, again, it's hard to, as a young black man, right? As a young black man in America, it's hard to get respect from your peers, from your father, your mother, family, whoever the case may be. It's hard to get that respect because everybody's looked at us as less than, right? And I said that in the video that no species, no human group is more disrespected or discredited than the so-called Black, Latino, and Native American, right? And it's because our credibility has always been shunned by those that rule over us, right? So this is Sirach 42:8. It says, this is for you young teachers as well. So you brothers out there that's teaching, that's coming up, right? Listen to this. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish. So it says don't be ashamed on informing the unwise and foolish and the extreme age, the elderly, right? That contendeth with those that are young. Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living. So I can learn something from the younger men. I learn something from the older men. I give my ear to brothers and sisters that are wise. Doesn't matter how they look. You can learn something from an aunt. You can learn something from anybody, right? It's not so much of how they look or how old they are, right? Because Scripture says you can inform the age, the extreme age, and we do that all the time, right? We out there on the highways and byways. We're helping the elderly understand this truth through the spirit of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, right? So I just want to bring that out, right? I just want to bring that out for our people because, pride usually goes to, our elderly, but especially our young men and our young women, right? They have that know-it-all spirit. And a lot of times that know-it-all spirit can get you confounded and humbled And so, the Most High wants that good balance when it comes to things like that, right? So I just want to open up with that through the Spirit. I want to get 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. Again, this lesson is about pride, right? How pride, initially just messes us up as Israelites in this truth. You may learn a lot in a short amount of time, and then that pride, that understanding can turn to pride, right? And when you're proud, it can come off as distasteful when it comes to this gospel, trying to teach your mother, your father, your uncles, your brother, your sister, whoever the case may be. You can come off as a bit, we all, right? We all, I've been guilty of it as well. We can come off as a know-it-all in this truth, and that can be pride, right? So this is 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. It says, "Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump, as ye are unleavened. For even Christ, Hamashiach, our Passover, is sacrificed for us." So again, Paul is saying to purge out the old leaven, whether that old leaven is sin, right? Pride, malice, covetousness, jealousy, anger, hatred. We got to purge that out, especially if you just kept the Passover, you kept unleavened bread. Now it's time to purge things out. That should be throughout the whole year, right? Purging things out. And as we get older in this truth, these tools, right, become more and more effective for us. Verse 8 says, "Therefore, let us keep the feast, not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth." Right? So we have to be sincere in our teaching. We have to be truthful in our teaching. We got to be patient with our teaching. This is why the fruits of the Spirit, patience being one of them, is one of the things that we must practice and pray and exercise ourselves on in this walk, right? Because you can be prideful over the years. You may gain a lot of information in this truth. And, over time, you may have that know-it-all spirit. Now, every now and again, it's good to check yourself before the Most High checks you and humbles you and corrects you, right? So we got to look at ourselves as teachers, as men of the Lord, as women of Yah, and understand why and how it's important to get that leaven out our system, right? This is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 8, and it reads, "What have pride profited us?" Right? What have we ever gotten out of pride? Have you ever asked yourself, right? Pause and ask yourself, have you ever received anything because of pride? Or what good have the riches with our vaunting brought us? Right? These are questions. It could be rhetorical. I know for myself, I've never gotten anything out of being proud or when I say pride, I'm not talking about being proud. You can be proud of your son. You can be proud of your wife, your daughter. The pride that we're talking about is the pride of a know-it-all, the pride of being higher than, above reproach. You can't correct this brother. You can't teach this brother nothing. The brother goes off, your brothers, your Akim, they have this spirit of, I don't want to tell that brother nothing because it's hard to teach this brother something. And pride is a powerful thing, but it can also be a detriment to us. And that's why the scripture says, "What hath pride profited us?" Right? What have you ever gotten from being a proud person, a proud man, a proud woman, a proud Christian, a proud old man? We're still learning. Yhwh said to what? To come as babes. There's no pride in a baby, right? There's no pride in a youngling or an infant, right? Because there's so much dependency on your parent, so much dependency on your father, your mother. So we don't teach the spirit of pride in our camp. Right? I want to get Ecclesiastes chapter 10. I want to start at verse 12. It says, "The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious." Right? So the opposite of that pride is wisdom. Right? Graciousness. Right? You got to be patient with brothers. You got to be patient with your sister. Right? You may know it all. Well, let's act like we know it all. Right? And we're going to show the patience, the fruit of the Spirit. All right? It says, "The words of a wise man's mouth are gracious, but the lips of a fool will swallow up himself. Let this man be prideful himself, right? He's gonna kill and swallow himself up. The beginning of the words of his mouth is foolishness, and the end of his talk is mischievous madness, right? You ever always say this, you know, you talk to a brother and the first thing that come out of his mouth, and you already know what he asking you, right? You already know what he asking for. You already know what she asking for, and it's foolish, right? Verse 14 says, a fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be and what shall be after him. Who could tell him, right? And it's funny when you think about things like, you know, proverbially speaking, you got something called a word salad. People will say a lot of big words, but they really not saying nothing, right? A lot of big words are being spewed out, but there's really nothing to be talked about. They're not saying anything, right? That's kind of how the Christian church is, you know. They'll say a lot of good stuff, a lot of good words, but there's no substance that's sticky, right? I don't leave with anything to ponder on and think about, all right? It says a fool also is full of words. A man cannot tell what shall be, right? And what shall be after him. Who could tell him? The labor of the foolish wearieth every one of them, because he knoweth not how to go to the city. Then it says, woe to thee, O land, when thy king is a child, and thy princes eat in the morning, right? And one of the things about a king is to put the pride aside so that you can lead your flock, lead your sheep, lead your fold, right? Be a righteous leader. And one of the tools of a righteous leader is to put away pride, right? To put away that proud look, to put away that pride, to be able to navigate your congregation, your community, your family, your kingdom, right? Whatever the case may be, righteously. All right. I want to get Sirach chapter 10, verse 7. Well, I'm not gonna be too long. I just want to, you know, bring a few precepts out. It says, Sirach chapter 10, verse 7. It says, pride is hateful before God and man, right? Nothing worse than a man that's proud, right? You see that pride when they drink a lot of liquor, right? When they go out there and they drink, they get high, they get drunk, and they tell you how they feel. Look at P. Diddy, right? A proud brother. Look at Drake. These are all proud brothers, and now there's a lot of heat coming on them because they have this spirit of no one can touch me. I can sleep who I want to sleep with. I want to mess who I want to mess with. I want to be a violent brother. I want to be this. I want to be that. And no one's going to bring me down. That's the pride of Esau, right? Only, you know, when you go into the scriptures, Esau had that pride of no one's going to bring me down, right? I think Puffy even had a song about that. No one can hold me down, right? And we looked at it as like a inspirational song, right? But when you really look at the actions behind Puffy and P Diddy, whatever these guys are, right? Even their names has pride in it. All right, so it's Sirach 10 and 7 in the Apocrypha says, pride is hateful before God and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, right? Again, going to that spirit of Esau, riches got by deceit. And we know how the white man got his riches, right? It was by deceit. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. And what happened, right? We saw when the kingdom, the birthright that Esau had. Let's get Genesis 25 real quick. But you saw how Esau, who was supposed to get the birthright, which would have gotten him the kingdom, right? It would have been Abraham, Isaac, and Esau. But Esau sold his birthright, right? And that's just kind of the spirit of a proud man, right? Let me finish this out in Sirach chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. Then it says, verse 9, why is earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man, right? And we think about this. If you covet someone's wife, right? You want that man's wife. You don't want a wife like he got. You want his wife, right? Then you know what happens is what? Then there's adultery, right? Then there's lying. Then there's murder. Look at King David, right? He wanted that man's wife, right? That's coveting, right? And that goes back to pride. It says, for such an one setteth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casteth away his bowels. Now look at this in Genesis 25 and 30. Right? This is Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Esau never wanted the birthright. He sold the birthright for food, when all he had to do was just wait a little longer, go home, and he can make his own meal and keep the birthright. But the birthright was never near and dear to Esau. As a matter of fact, the prophecy said that Jacob was supposed to inherit that birthright. But Esau sold it. Jacob never stole the birthright. Jacob never stole the birthright. Esau sold it, right? Verse 33, and Jacob said, swear to me this day, and he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Jacob never stole it. It was a transaction. I'll give you food, you give me, in any deal, right? Any business transaction, there should be beneficiaries on both sides. At least that's what you go into a deal hoping for. You leave the deal thinking that you won on both parties, right? So if Esau believed that he won, then he never wanted a birthright that was worth more than that little bowl of soup, that little bowl of rice and beans or whatever lentils were, right? So I just want people to understand why Esau had that mentality of what you would say of worth, having that spirit or having that birthright. It was worthless to him, but it was worth everything to Jacob. It was worth it. It was a good deal for Jacob. Out of that business transaction, Jacob won and Esau ultimately lost. And as a result, there was what that followed Esau? Pride, hatred. What was that? What was that word we spoke on earlier? Leaven, right? Leaven. Having a leaven agent is what festered up in Esau, which was pride. Well, which is like pride, synonymous with pride. All right, so let's get Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It says, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by faith, right? This is talking about Esau. Read on. Yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Esau is a proud man. The white man is proud. There's no way that a white man can walk on this earth right here, especially in North America, South America, kill the indigenous population, bring in the Negro population to build it up, and then use the so-called Latino and Mexicans to maintain it, right? Only Esau has that pride to use all 12 tribes to build Esau's kingdom, right? It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. And the white man is never at home. He is in everybody's business, even to this day, in the so-called Middle East, right? It says, who enlargeth his desire as hell? And everywhere he goes, we look at death, right? We look at death, destruction, poverty, right? And is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? And this is why everywhere you go, the people will say that the white man or white America or America is the devil. The white man is the devil, white devil. We always hear that, not just from Negroes, not from Latinos, not from Native Americans. You see the white devil over in Saudi Arabia. You see them called the white devil over in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq, India. You can go to you can go to Australia and find the Aborigines calling the white man the devil the Bible speaks of. So everybody knows this man as death, right? When the white man shows up, death is soon to follow. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him, destruction to him, that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly, that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee? And thou shalt be for booties unto them, which is spoils and treasures. Verse 8, because thou hast spoiled many nations. And what nation has went around and spoiled many nations, if not all nations, right? Your so-called white man, right? All the remnant of the people shall spoil thee because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land of the city, and of all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, right? His habitations, like in Obadiah, will say his habitation was high, right? Amongst the stars, that he may be delivered from the power of evil, right? And that's what we're trying to teach our people, on how to be delivered from these so-called heathens, man, the so-called white man, the devil that the Bible speaks of. That's the pride of Esau, right? Let me get Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 11. Let's go into the pride of Esau. And Obadiah said the same thing, right? We're going to get into Obadiah. This is Jeremiah 50 and 11. It says, because you were glad, because you rejoiced, O ye destroyers of mine inheritance. And the white man would be the destroyer of God's inheritance, or his heritage, God's inheritance, or the heritages that we have, that he has, is the so-called Black, Latino, and Native Americans on the Western Hemisphere. And when you go onto the other Eastern Hemisphere, right, you have Israelites that are scattered abroad. The Bible teaches that, right? Verse number 11, it says, because ye are grown fat as the heifer at grass, and bellow as bulls, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert, because of the wrath of the Most High. It shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at all her plagues. Verse 14, put yourselves in array against Babylon. And Babylon would be spiritual Babylon, or America, right? Or even the kingdom, the web that the Edomite has over all the world, right? But America being the chief place, or the chief house of spiritual Babylon. It says, your mother shall be confounded, she that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness, a dry land, and a desert. It says, because of the wrath of the Most High, it shall not be inhabited, but it shall be wholly desolate. Everyone that goeth by Babylon shall be astonished, and hiss at her plagues. People are going to be confounded when they see how the white man's going to go from sugar to you know what, right? And how quickly it's going to happen. It says, verse 14, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Most High. And that arrows is thermonuclear fire, right? That's the story, how Esau is going to end. That's how you see, this is the end of America as we know it. They're going to have to bend the bow, right? Meaning the other nations, and they're going to nuke this place. And through the Spirit, we pray for our deliverance and our salvation. And we pray that y'all get it too, you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Jeremiah 50 and 15 says, shout against her round about. She hath given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of the Most High. Take vengeance upon her as she hath done do unto her, right? And we see that all through the scriptures, how there's going to be we're going to give the cup over to the other nations. Verse 16, that's what I want. Verse 16 says, cut off the sower from Babylon, and him that handleth the sickle in the time of harvest. For fear of the oppressing sword, they shall turn everyone to his people. They shall flee everyone to his own land, right? This is Obadiah 1 and 3. It says, the pride of thine heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's pride right there, right? When the so-called white man can commit atrocity after atrocity after atrocity after atrocity, right? Just last video you saw on our YouTube channel, Yhwh's Camp, Raleigh, North Carolina, you saw us talking to a brother, a black man, right? And, you know, he said, or he made it seem like what the white man did was a long time ago. And so we showed him a picture of Dylan Roof and how Dylan Roof wasn't that long, like a couple years ago. As a matter of fact, when I was coming in the truth, what was happening with Dylan Roof in South Carolina just happened, right? Then you had the guy that shot the Walmart up over in like Buffalo. Then you had all these different murders. It's still going on, right? And only the so-called white man can continue to allow his people to get away with murder, atrocities, crimes, and never have to stand trial. When they do stand trial, it's never a fair verdict, right? Amber Geiger comes to mind. The judge gave her a hug, black woman, gave her a hug, right? She just killed another black man, but let another black man go in and kill a black man or a black woman, and then they give him they give him the book, right? They prosecute him to the fullest. There is no Burger King stop, right? There is no let me give him a hug, right? The Negro is too forgiving to everybody else, but the Negro never forgives his own people. Meanwhile, the Edomite, the white man, is very forgiving of his own, but they never forgive you so-called Negroes. That is pride, right? The pride of thine heart have deceived thee, though that thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? That's what the white man is saying. Who's gonna stop me? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and that eagle flies one of the highest flying birds, and though thou that set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Most High. That's the Most High humbling the so-called white man. Obadiah is written to a prophecy about the Edomites, right? Verse 5 says, if thieves come to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had had enough? You would think the white man would just steal just a little bit of land in America. But no, they stole the whole Americas. You would think they would just steal a little bit and not let the Native Americans go on these reservations where they drink themselves to death and they get persecuted and they get vaccinated and all these different things that they infect our people with on the reservations. You would think that the pride of Esau wouldn't be, let's take over the whole United States. Let's take over all the Americas, right? Alaska, Canada, the U.S., Mexico, South America. You would think that, but no, the pride of the Edomite is gone too far, right? The white man has gone too far, right? Verse 6 says, how are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. And that's what happens when you allow these other nations to come and sit with you. They give you these blankets full of smallpox, right? And then next thing you know, you have liquor and they have your land. You have white Jesus and they have your land. They got the gold, they got the oil that sits on the land. And we talked about that, about the Osage, right? If you watch that movie, Killers of the Flower Moon, it talks about how the white man came and literally was marrying the Native American women, and then they would kill them slowly, right? And then inherit those land rights. That's the way how Esau operates. That's pride. You should have just been happy, right? That, you know, the Native Americans didn't scout and kill every single white man that found himself on Plymouth Rock, right? It says, they that eat the bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And no one can understand how you can literally, I don't know how I can fathom someone helping me and then I stab him in the back when I get a chance. That's the devil. That's the white man that the Bible speaks of. It says, verse 8, shall I not in that day, saith Yhwh, even destroy the wise men out of Edom? These wise men are proud men, these philosophers, right? These scientists, these Bill Gateses and these Fauci's, and all these people that push this narrative, right? This thing that we got, that that we have, right? That's the wise men of the Edomite, right? These pharmaceutical companies that kill our brothers, that give our brothers blood thinners, and then our brother dies, right? Shout out to our brother Mac, a good brother, man, and he passed away because he listened. He had no choice, but he listened to the devices or the counsels of the so-called white man. All right? So you got to be careful. It says, verse 9, and thy mighty men, O Teman, shall be dismayed. Teman is another name for the children of Esau, right? To the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter, right? So I want people to understand that, right? What Esau is, right? Esau is, right, the sword of the Most High, right? I want people to understand that God divinely ordained Esau, right? God gave Esau a miracle, right? Where this man who can't, fight the sun, he can't survive in the heat, but somehow, some way, he was able to become the top nation on this earth, who's going around pushing our community into drugs, bad music, bad movies, right? All our music, all our entertainment is geared towards crippling the black community. And who is the one that ordains it and orchestrates it is your friendly neighborhood white man, the Edomite. All right? I want to get Psalm 17:13 to prove that. It says, arise, O Yhwh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword, right? The Most High ordained the wicked to be his sword. So when you see our brothers getting gunned down by white men, when you go and just look up slavery and look up lynchings and hangings and study the antebellum South, even to this day over at the border of Arizona, New Mexico, California, Texas, right? You see our children in these damn prison cages, robbed and spoiled. Who put them there? The so-called white man. And and no one talks about it. Who destroys the water in Flint, Michigan and doesn't get away with it? And watch this. I got a question. It's a rhetorical question. But how is it that Joe Biden and the administration of the United States of America, United Snakes of America, how is it that Joe Biden can send billions and billions of dollars to Ukraine and to Israel, but cannot fix Flint, Michigan's water, cannot fix the water in Mississippi, right? How is it that a guy named Brett Favre, who played quarterback, can profit off of the calamity of the so-called black man, right? That's pride of the so-called white man. The white man's gonna help his own kind, even though we're one nation under God, as to what they would say. But the nation that under God that they were talking about was people that looked like them, looked like Thomas Jefferson, looked like Ben Franklin, George Washington. One nation under God isn't talking about you Negroes. So we gotta come back and have pride in ourselves and not be prideful in the other nations, right? This is Leviticus 26, verse 17, all right? Like I said, I won't be long. I'm gonna be real quick. Leviticus 26:17 says, and I will set my face against you, and you shall be slain before your enemies. They that hate you shall reign over you. Let me read that part again. They that hate you shall reign over you. This is a prophecy, right? And ye shall flee when none pursueth you, right? And the ones that hate us, right? Just listen. Just live life, bro. Live life, sis, as a so-called black man, so-called Native American man, so-called Hispanic man, woman and child in America, right? Just look at who hates you and our people. You go to the office, they're not going to tell you they hate you. They think that, right? They hate your people. They may like you, but holistically, they don't like 90% of our people, all right? The ones that hate us. So Esau, in his pride, right, has a destruction coming to him, right? And all I'm doing is just being a messenger, right? I'm being a messenger. Thus saith the Lord, right? This is Amos 1:11. It says, thus saith the Most High, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. Meaning the Most High is going to punish the so-called white man, right? Because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever, right? So the Most High is saying that the Edomite was going to keep his wrath towards you so-called Negroes forever. And you people, right, our people that want to elbow and buddy and go to his Christmas parties and go to his birthday parties and sleepovers, you're going to learn the hard way. You're going to learn the hard way, right? What the Most High has in store. The Most High said that those Edomites that hate you was going to kill our people, man. And lo and behold, we see it all the time. And only our people will get bit by a snake, will put his hand in a snake bag, get bit, get an antibiotic, get healed, and go right back in there and do the same thing over and over. Verse 12 says, but I will send a fire upon Timon, which shall devour the palaces of Basra, right? So all these big buildings, skyscrapers, White Houses, Pentagons, all that, the Most High is going to destroy it, right? Thus saith the Lord. Let's get Lamentations 4 and 21. You may ask yourself, you know, the white man may be watching this and saying, well, what do I got to do, right? This is what you can do. Lamentations 4:21 says, rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup, this cup, right, also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. And you see this going on right now. People are being exposed at a high level, right? Weinstein, Epstein, Biden, all these so-called white people, right, are being exposed at a high level, right? And the list came out before Epstein passed away that had all your celebrities, all your favorite actors who visited that island that was practicing pedophilia, homosexuality, and all the things that came with it, all right? You become naked, right? So drink up and enjoy, because this cup is going to be passed over to you. Verse 22 says, the punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. So we're at the time where this punishment is going to be done. The curses of Deuteronomy will cease to exist for us, right? We're going to have dominion at a certain point. We're waiting on Yhwh Shai to give us that. We can't get it on our own. It's not going to work, right? They got just too much and we got too little. It says, he will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins, right? I'm going to get Psalm 60 and 3 to show you what that affliction or that cup is. What does that cup represent, right? This is Psalms chapter 60, verse 3. It says, thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment, right? That's astonishment that we're drinking. We've been drinking that now, astonishment, also known as the curses of Deuteronomy, right? The curses of Leviticus 26. All the things that come with it. Last hired, first fired, sicknesses, disease, pestilence, black on black crime, black on Hispanic crime, right? Our brothers in the reservations drinking themselves, right? The land just being given to another nation that really can't even live in this environment. They can't survive in this environment without sunblock, right? It's not for them. But again, we have to get the pride out, because the sooner we can come together and become one nation, right, that's keeping these commandments, the quicker we are at getting this kingdom. Understand that the quicker you are at getting this kingdom through the spirit of Yhwh Shai, right? We're waiting on Yhwh Shai to get this kingdom. I got 3 more and I'm gonna be done. This is Zechariah 14 and 12. It says, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. One of the main enemies of our people, right? Not the land of Jerusalem, but our people, who is Jerusalem, is the so-called white man, the Edomite, the most proud man on this earth, right? Only pride will allow you not to give reparations back to the Negro to this day. Listen, if the so-called white man can have old money, right? If the so-called white man can have old money, generational wealth, meaning my great-great-great-grandfathers, right? These Vanderbilts and all these famous families, if they could pass money down and they got the money from the backs of Negroes, then reparations should also be handed down. What the white man has done is they say, well, you're not a slave. We'll give you reparations if you can prove that you were a slave. But it doesn't work like that, because if reparations, right, is only geared to the person that was actually doing the work, then generational wealth, by logic, should also be given to the person that made that money, which means money shouldn't be able to be trickled down as a family heirloom. There should be no trust fund, right? It should be, hey, you're a so-called white man. Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You didn't do any of the work that your forefathers have done. But instead, there's a loophole, right? And as Negroes, the white man is the most proud species person on this earth. I don't want to call him human. I'm just going to call him a person, right? Because they blocked off the ability to get reparations. They blocked that off. They should have gave it to our people at that time so that the so-called Negro can then give that reparations, 40 acres and a mule, money to go with it as a trust fund. Black people should have trust funds from slave times the same way white people have trust funds from slave times. Because if the work was done, then that money should be able to be sent back to your fathers, your children, your descendants. But it's not. And because of that, the Most High is going to destroy the white man for what he's done. This is Zechariah 14:12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. This is talking about thermonuclear fire, right? And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. And it shall come to pass in that day, the day that America will be destroyed, right? That a great tumult from the Most High shall be among them, and they shall lay hold every one on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. Verse 14, and Judah also shall fight at Jerusalem, you so-called Negroes, right? And the wealth of all the heathen round about shall be gathered together, gold and silver and apparel in great abundance. And so shall be the plague of the horse, of the mule, of the camel, and of the ass, and of all the beasts that shall be in these tents as this plague, right? So understand what's coming to America is not Eddie Murphy. It's not Arsenio Hall, right? It's not the Prince of Zamunda. What's coming to America, right, is the wrath of the sovereign God, the Most High God, Yhwh, right? By the hand of Yahushua and his brothers, right? The children of Israel. Right? I want to get Revelation 14, verse 12, right? And I'm going to be finished after these last two. I'm going to get Judith 8 and 17. It says, so this is what you have to do in the meantime, right? 3 things. I always prescribe 3 things, right? 3 things for you so-called Negroes that's coming in this truth, you Latinos and Native Americans, right? First of all, you have to accept that we are Israelites and we are set apart. And as Israelites that's set apart, we must live as such. If you want the kingdom of heaven, right, you got to do what's right. Here's what we got to do. First is, here's the patience of the saints. This is, again, Revelation 14 and 12. Here's the patience of the saints. Here are they, right? Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua, right? So we're going to substitute pride for patience. Substitute pride for patience. You got pride, you got money, you got a good job, and a lot of times people what stops, and this is what I've seen, right? I'm not saying this is from everybody, but what I've seen is people not get this truth or not walk into this truth because of money, because of success, because of status. A lot of Negroes, especially our female Negroes, they're not coming in this truth because they got to give up what they worked so hard for. And I get it. But if you really want this kingdom of heaven, right? Yahushua said, don't store earthly things, right? But lay up in the heaven, the treasures of the heavenly things, roughly paraphrasing. All right? So we got to think about what happens after we die. Not while we're here breathing this air here on earth. What happens after you die? Again, here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God. You got to have endurance. Patience requires endurance. You have to be obedient to God, right? You have to keep the commandments, keep the laws and the statutes. I recommend finding a congregation that resonates with you. If you are in the Raleigh area, right? If you are in the North Carolina Raleigh area, meaning you are in Raleigh, Durham, Knightdale, you know, in Chapel Hill, Fayetteville, right? Come and build with us, right? And then it says, and the faith of Jesus Christ, Hamashiach Yahweh. You have to have faith that Christ is the one that rescued you, right? And your sins will be cleansed by the blood, death, burial, and resurrection of Yahweh Shah Hamashiach. One more, I want to get Judith 8 and 17, and then we'll wrap it up. Please like, subscribe, share. If you got questions, put it in the comment, and I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right. I don't really deal with the folly, but you know, if you disagree, right? Respectfully disagree, and we can have a respectful dialogue. All right. This is Judith 8 and 17. It says, therefore, let us wait for salvation. Waiting requires patience, which requires endurance. Right. It says, let us wait for salvation of him and call upon him to help us, and he will hear our voice if it please him. The only way that it will please the Most High when you pray to God is being obedient, right? So with that, I hope this was edifying, right? Hopefully that was, it got through, right? Again, pride cometh before the fall. So we're going to focus, right? Substituting pride for patience. Let's get pride out of our life. Let's get that leaven out of our life. Let's purge out the old leaven, right? Purge out the old lump. All right, and at the end of the day, let's kill pride, right? And this is for any Israelite at any level, right? Any Israelite at any level can take something from this lesson and apply it to their everyday life. If you're a beginner, you can apply it to your life. If you've been in this truth 50 years, right, you can still get something from this. With that, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh. We do so in the name of his only begotten son, Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. Again, this is your brother, Captain Ra'am from Yahweh's camp. All right. Please like, subscribe, share. Love y'all, Israel. Till next time. Shalom.